Who's your plastic surgeon, Tim Burton?
They asked for it, and they got it.
This guy has an ego. When Trump bangs a supermodel, he closes his eyes and imagines he's jerking off.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 celebrity roasts.
You could have come up with other characters your fans have never seen, like Larry the dentist, or Larry the librarian, or Larry the high school diploma.
For this list, we're focusing mainly on Comedy Central roasts.
Right before the show started, Seth rolled a gigantic fatty because that was the only way we could get Jonah Hill onto the stage.
However, the table is open to all of those special events where a particular person, otherwise known as a guest of honor, is the center or subject of jokes made for the entertainment of a public audience that have taken place over the years.
What are you laughing at, Flav? You look like Whoopi Goldberg and Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Had an abortion.
Number 10, Larry the Cable Guy.
I am talking, of course, about Larry the Cable Guy.
You might be wondering why Comedy Central decided to host a redneck roast, but perhaps the bigger question is why Marsha Brady ended up on stage. The answer?
Because he wanted someone he used to masturbate to in high school, and Mr. Ed wasn't available.
The Nebraskan comedian's name is actually Daniel Whitney, and his blue-collar stage character was torched in 2009 by a full cast of opening acts, including his own in the form of someone named Reno Collier.
Is Larry the Cable Guy's opening act Reno Collier?
As always, Lisa Lampanelli proved that women can make a career in comedy by screaming and continuously referencing their ass, while the late Greg Giraldo asked the most important question of all.
How the are you so popular?
Number 9, David Hasselhoff.
And I am here to salute the greatest cartoon character of all time, David Hasselhoff.
Wait, don't you have to be relevant in America to get your own Comedy Central roast?
Oh, David, I feel your pain. I know exactly what you're going through. Except when they roasted me, I was relevant.
Aside from his surprising music career, David Hasselhoff is most famous for his association with Kit and Tits. And somehow this was reason enough to organize a group of C-level comedians and Hulk Hogan in a room.
Look at you. You look like Dog the Pastrami Hunter.
Well, actually, it was Hoff's drunken meltdown that led to the affair. But even so, it allowed Gilbert Gottfried to remind America that he was alive and well, and definitely not in jail for a sketchy offense.
They should call him Hasselhoff.
Perhaps the biggest name of the event was Seth MacFarlane, who brought justice to millions of 90s adolescent men by revealing that Mitch Buchanan was indeed a boner killer.
David had an important role on Baywatch. His job was to kill boners.
Number 8, Chevy Chase.
Tonight is about Chevy.
Has there ever been someone more embarrassed to be at their own roast?
An OJ roast would have drawn more star power.
Not only did none of Chevy's old pals from Saturday Night Live show up, but he seemed oblivious to the concept of a roast.
It's a thrill to be here honoring Chevy. Is it Chevy or Chevy? 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 I don't know. I can't.
Lisa Lampanelli took the stage and proceeded to skewer poor Paul Schaefer until his last strand of hair fell off.
I can't help it. It's that bald head. Is that hot or what? Every time I see you on TV, it reminds me to clean my dildo.
In the end, it was all-star roaster Greg Giraldo who set the room on fire.
I can only dream of making 3 good movies and 40 ones.
Including Sally Jesse Raphael's hair.
Your show lasted 6 weeks. Sally Jesse Raphael's lasted 16 years. That's got to feel good late at night, huh? Oh, you. I chopped off 4 years for symmetry. Shut up.
Number 7, William Shatner.
I speak, of course, of the great William Shatner.
How do you outperform a living legend of outrageous acting? Well, just ask Betty White.
You look great. You know, they make 1% milk now.
Because she knows a thing or two about Captain Kirk's Little Rocket Man.
Let's face it, we all know Shatner's nuts. But George has actually tasted them.
Okay, maybe this roast was a bit on the elderly side.
Speaking of Shatner, Betty White just shat in her pants.
However, Comedy Central asked a young homeless man named Jeffrey Ross to reflect on his memories of Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah, the truth is, my whole life, I had that poster of you, and as a kid, I would always masturbate to it, hoping that I wouldn't go blind. And now that I see you in person...
In the end, Andy Dick creeped out everyone as usual.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow.
While Carrie Fisher simultaneously destroyed Patton Oswalt's memories of Princess Leia's gold bikini.
You were so good in that gold bikini. And then what happened? I mean, when they yelled cut, did you have a Vicodin eating contest with Chewbacca?
Number 6, Hugh Hefner.
A man who made jerking off a national pastime.
Jimmy Kimmel hosted this classic roast, or as the comedians called it, Who Wants to Visit the Playboy Mansion?
Look at this table. The man has 7 girlfriends and no erections.
In fact, there was so much ass-kissing going on that Jimmy Kimmel actually managed to get a girlfriend out of the ordeal. But only after Sarah Silverman shattered his confidence and flaunted her deep cleavage for the elderly Hef.
When are you gonna get serious? You know, one day you might want one of them changing diapers. I mean, if it gets too hard to do it yourself.
By the end of the night, Ice-T tried to come up with a good reason for his appearance and thoroughly confused every white person in the room, including Mr. Hefner, who was still very much alive.
Before I start, I'd like to apologize for wearing all this black. I got the phone call last night. They said it was an event for Hefner. I thought it had to be a funeral for sure.
Number 5, Bob Saget.
An incomparable showbiz whore. I'm talking, of course, about Bob Saget.
We know what you millennials are thinking. Who the F is Bob Saget? Well, aside from playing Danny Tanner on Full House, he's actually performed his raunchy stand-up routine since the 70s, and he's truly a comics comic.
This is the longest John Stamos has gone without putting his cock in a desperate actress.
Meaning that any comic looks good after following Bob Saget. This 2008 roast was notable for the anti-comedy set by Norm Macdonald.
No, but Bob has a beautiful face, like a flower. Yeah, cauliflower.
And also for the voracious segment by Greg Giraldo, who metaphorically and poignantly described Saget as the
genital wart on the cock of American culture.
Wait, isn't that Andy Dick's claim to fame?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Bob. You have no talent. Get a harmonica, put it on your ass, and try to come up with a tune.
Number 4, Justin Bieber.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Hart, and welcome to the Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber.
Speaking of culture vultures, the almighty king of douchebaggery was roasted in 2015.
It's an honor to be at a roast hosted by Shaq's dick.
And rappers like Snoop Dogg and Ludacris appeared to remind Biebs of a harsh fact. He's white.
It's no secret that Justin wants to be black. Can we all agree on that? Justin loves the black culture. Everybody knows that.
With all due respect to Justin Bieber, it takes a lot of guts to endure such a fiasco. And the one and only Ron Burgundy showed up to express his support.
And I'm just here to say one thing. You people don't know what the hell you're talking about.
However, it was Jeffrey Ross who asked the most important questions about Bieber's career.
You have such a huge career behind you.
And brilliantly labeled the cocky kid as the King Joffrey of pop. Believe it.
But lately, a lot of people have been pointing their fingers at you. And those are just lesbians showing the barber how they want their haircut.
Number 3, James Franco.
My name is Seth Rogen. Welcome to the Comedy Central roast of James Franco.
Long before James Franco became America's modern-day Renaissance man, he starred as the iconic James Dean.
Everybody thinks I'm great except you.
And if you ask Seth Rogen, it was a perfect fit.
James became famous for playing James Dean, which makes sense because they both sucked some dicks and made 3 good movies.
This 2013 roast featured an all-star cast of giggling potheads, all of whom served as the laugh track for Andy Samberg's vicious takedowns.
Aziz's parents are from India and he's from South Carolina. Hey Aziz, what's it like to have a unique perspective on what it means to be American, you bag of shit?
Yes, it's always funny to poke fun at James Franco's artistic achievements, but it's even more hysterical when the president of Hollywood does it.
But I know it hasn't always been easy for you, James. You overcame a crippling childhood affliction known as dumbface.
While everybody loves the stoner brand of comedy that made Franco, Rogen, and Jonah Hill famous,
When Jonah's agent told him that Quentin Tarantino wanted him to be in a spaghetti western, Jonah was like, you had me at spaghetti.
A cornrowed Jeffrey Ross reminded us that stand-up comedy is where it's at.
You know, Franco, personally, I don't care if you guys or girls. All I know is you me out of $12 when I went to see that Wizard of Oz movie.
Number 2, Charlie Sheen.
We're here tonight to honor and hopefully arrest a man who was great in two things 25 years ago.
The late Charlie Sheen will forever be known as the bad boy of Hollywood. He's still alive?
We all know there's a good chance Charlie will be dead soon, so I wrote an obituary.
Well, everybody thought Charlie Sheen would be dead by the time of his 2011 roast, but he managed to survive and was winning in his own unique way.
Charlie, if you're winning, then something's wrong with the scoreboard.
Led by roast master Seth MacFarlane, a collection of equally troubled individuals questioned the idea of Charlie Sheen.
No, he's my friend. I've known him for about 18 years, and I can tell you, he's nothing like the character he plays on TMZ.
Along with the idea that he might have a dead hooker or two in the basement.
Seth MacFarlane, the only difference between you and the hooker Charlie locked in the closet is that the hooker eventually came out.
In all seriousness, though, is Charlie Sheen really still alive?
Drugs couldn't kill me. Sex couldn't kill me. The press couldn't kill me. 2.5 men couldn't kill me.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
What you gonna do? You know, you lucky I can't stand the sight of blood. Especially your own blood.
He's dried out, ashy, and wishes he was taller. Flav, you look like one of my blunts, except smaller.
There's no point in trashing your face because your surgeon already did that for us.
I was the night that Willie Shoemaker, the Jockalacky, was there and told Johnny he weighed only 92 pounds, so soaking wet. You.
Number 1, Pamela Anderson.
We are here tonight, of course, to honor Pamela Anderson, who showed us just how far a woman can go when she believes in herself and gets a pair of volleyball-sized breast implants.
She became an international sex symbol for 2 simple reasons: the success of Baywatch and the sex tape to end all sex tapes. Oh, and also her large set of breasts.
You're a Canadian, but those tits were made in America.
So, was it a big surprise when this roast featured set after set of constant sex jokes? Of course not. And it was extraordinarily spectacular.
And boy, do you know how to give great head. But then again, with your acting skills, I guess you have to.
Especially when a hammered Courtney Love appeared on stage, along with the queen of questionable sex comedy, Lisa Lampanelli.
She has dated Scott Baio, the singer from Poison, and the drummer from Motley Crue. Her life story should be a show on VH1 called I F***ed the 80s.
This 2005 roast was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, and while most resorted to jaw-dropping sex jokes, it was Greg Giraldo who shook things up and claimed his place as the ultimate celebrity roaster.
Speaking of anal warts, good to see Courtney Love here.
Do you agree with our list?
I say let the past stay in the past with John Lovitz.
Which is your favorite celebrity roast?
You are a big, ghoulish woman. I'm talking to you, Carrot Top.
For more mind-blowing top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
I do think one day Jonah will win an Oscar. Meyer, Hot Dog Eater of the Millennium Award.